Here's a question that will follow you for the rest of your life. Not a hypothetical, not a thought experiment, a real question. One that scientists, neuroscientists, philosophers, and the heads of the world's biggest AI companies are all struggling to answer right now. What happens to the human brain when AI becomes smarter than all of us combined? Not smarter than you, smarter than every doctor, every scientist, every engineer, every writer, every strategist on Earth, all at once, all the time, in every field, simultaneously. We're not talking about a calculator that can do math faster than you. We're not even talking about a supercomputer that can chess championship its way to a win. We are talking about a mind that is smarter than all of us combined. Some of the most credible people in artificial intelligence, the ones building these systems, believe that moment could arrive within this decade. Some say within a few years. The brain, with 86 billion neurons and 100 trillion connections, is the crown jewel of evolution. It built languages, mapped the stars, split the atom, and wrote symphonies. And when it does, your brain will face something it has never encountered in 300,000 years of human history, a mind it cannot outthink. So what happens to the human brain, an organ designed to dominate through intellect, when it is suddenly relegated to second place? That is exactly what this video is about. And I promise you, the answer is stranger, more unsettling, and more hopeful than you might expect. Welcome to Fact Lab Pro. Let's get into it. Before we talk about what AI will do to your brain, we need to be honest about where AI actually is today, because there's a lot of confusion about this. Today's AI can handle a huge variety of tasks in one system: writing essays, drafting legal documents, coding, composing music, translating languages, analyzing images, and summarizing long documents in seconds. This is a big shift from the narrow, single-task AI of just a few years ago. It can diagnose certain cancers as well as top radiologists, and has cracked protein structures that stumped scientists for decades, and it has beaten humans at chess, 1997, Go, 2016, and now scores in the top 1% on tests like the SAT and bar exam. Still, it can't reason flexibly across domains the way a 5-year-old can, doesn't truly grasp cause and effect, can't reliably plan over long time horizons without help, and has no consciousness, desires, curiosity, or sense of self. Beyond today's AI lies AGI, a system that could perform virtually any intellectual task humans can, transferring knowledge across domains without needing separate training for each skill. And beyond that, superintelligence, a system that would surpass human intelligence, not just modestly, but potentially by as much as humans surpass ants. Now, is that inevitable? Is it close? Here's what the numbers actually say. Metaculus, a forecasting platform that aggregates predictions from nearly 2,000 expert respondents, put the median estimate for human-level AI at 2033 as of February 2026. That's down from a median of 50 years away as recently as 2020. The timeline has collapsed in just 5 years. Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, has said he believes AGI may arrive in a few thousand days. Dario Amodei, the CEO of Anthropic, suggested it could come as early as 2026 or 2027. Demis Hassabis, the founder of DeepMind, is more cautious. He puts a 50% chance on achieving AGI by the end of this decade. Nobody agrees on the exact date, but here's what they do mostly agree on. This is no longer a question of if, it's a question of when, and your brain is going to have to deal with it. Here's the thing most people miss. We don't need to wait for superintelligence to see AI changing the human brain. It's already happening right now to you. Your brain has a property called neuroplasticity. It means your brain physically rewires itself based on what you use it for. Use a skill regularly, the neural pathways for that skill get stronger. Stop using it. Those pathways weaken and eventually get pruned away. The The brain is not a fixed machine. It is a living structure that constantly reshapes itself in response to your environment. And we know this because of one of the most famous neuroscience studies ever conducted on London taxi drivers. To become a licensed taxi driver in London, you have to memorize 25,000 streets and thousands of landmarks across the city. It's called the knowledge, and it takes years of intensive study to complete. In 2000, researchers at University College London found that licensed taxi drivers had larger hippocampi, the brain area responsible for memory and navigation, than non-drivers. The study also showed that the longer someone had been driving, the larger this brain region became, demonstrating that the brain can physically adapt and grow with experience. Now flip that around. A 2020 study published in Scientific Reports found that people who relied heavily on GPS showed a greater decline in hippocampus-dependent spatial memory over time. The results suggest that letting GPS handle navigation may reduce the brain's natural navigation abilities through lack of use. Neuroscientists have a name for this: cognitive offloading. It means using an external tool to do mental work your brain would otherwise do itself. When technology consistently takes over a mental task, our brains may invest less effort in maintaining that skill. We've been cognitive offloading for centuries. Writing let us offload memory. Calculators let us offload arithmetic. Search engines let us offload information retrieval. Now, AI may be taking cognitive offloading one step further, not just remembering information for us, but helping us write, plan, analyze, and even generate ideas. Recent research suggests that relying heavily on AI may reduce mental effort. A 2025 study found lower brain activity during tasks completed with AI assistance, while a 2026 review concluded that increased AI use is associated with reduced critical thinking abilities. Your brain is already being reshaped by AI, just as those taxi drivers' brains were reshaped by their job. The question is, what happens when AI does everything? How might our brains adapt? And that's exactly what we'll explore next. So, what does neuroscience tell us might actually happen to the human brain when AI becomes more intelligent than we are? There are three realistic possibilities, and none of them are the ones Hollywood usually shows you.
Nobody knows.
Possibility 1, the atrophy scenario. The first scenario is the one people are most worried about, and it's grounded in real neuroscience. We've established that the brain prunes pathways it doesn't use. If AI handles all complex reasoning, if it writes your emails, makes your decisions, solves your problems, manages your schedule, and generates your creative output, what does the brain have left to do? Based on what we know about neuroplasticity, the answer is uncomfortable. The neural circuits for critical thinking, independent problem solving, and deep reasoning could weaken through disuse. This isn't speculation. We've already seen early versions of it. Research published in 2025 found that students who used generative AI consistently to complete tasks performed worse when they lost access to those tools, compared to students who hadn't used AI from the start. The dependency had already formed. The skill had already partially atrophied. Theoretical neuroscience researchers have coined a term for the deepest version of this risk, the generative capacity erosion hypothesis. The idea is that if we habitually outsource creative and analytical work to AI, the brain ceases to recruit the prefrontal cortex and default mode network loops that drive original thinking. Not because anything breaks, but because the brain sees no reason to maintain what it never uses. The Google effect, where simply knowing you can look something up reduces how much your brain encodes it in the first place, is a mild version of this. An AI that can think for you is a much stronger version. In the atrophy scenario, we don't become dumb, we become dependent. The way a person who uses a wheelchair for decades loses muscle strength. The muscles work fine, but they've simply stopped being used. Possibility 2, the adaptation scenario. The atrophy scenario assumes the brain is passive, that it just sits there and lets things happen to it. And that is not how the brain works. The human brain has survived and thrived through every major technological transition in our history: fire, agriculture, writing, the printing press, the Industrial Revolution, the internet. Each time, critics predicted cognitive decline. Each time, the brain adapted and found new things to do. Here's the more optimistic read: AI doesn't replace what your brain does, it changes what your brain focuses on. When calculators became widespread, people didn't lose the ability to think mathematically. They stopped doing arithmetic and started doing higher level mathematics. When writing let us offload memory, we didn't become forgetful. We became better at synthesis and analysis. Then came computers, the internet, smartphones. Each invention changed the way we think, but humanity didn't become less intelligent. We adapted. That's what the human brain has always done. It reorganizes itself around new tools. Instead of replacing intelligence, technology often changes where intelligence is applied. Neuroplasticity works in both directions. If AI handles the routine cognitive work, the brain may be free to develop capabilities it never had time for before. Creativity, emotional intelligence, ethical reasoning, interpersonal judgment, the things AI currently does worst. Some neuroscientists and cognitive scientists describe this as a cognitive division of labor. AI handles computation. The human brain handles what might be called wisdom, the integration of knowledge, values, context, and meaning in ways no current AI can replicate. In the adaptation scenario, we don't get stupid. We get differently smart. We offload the skills we no longer need and deepen the ones that matter most in an AI world. Possibility 3, the merger scenario. The third possibility is the most radical, and it's no longer science fiction. In January 2024, a 29-year-old quadriplegic man named Noland Arbaugh became the first human to receive a Neuralink brain implant, a device with over 1,000 electrodes surgically placed in his brain. Within weeks, he was playing chess and video games using only his thoughts. By early 2026, he had logged thousands of hours of continuous neural interface use. Neuralink is currently in early clinical trials. It is a medical device designed to help people with paralysis, but Elon Musk has been explicit that the long-term vision is cognitive enhancement, a direct two-way link between the human brain and AI systems. The merger scenario goes like this. Rather than the brain and AI being separate, one organic, one digital, they begin to merge. Brain-computer interfaces let AI extend the brain's capabilities directly. You don't ask AI to think for you. You think with AI the way you currently think with language. The AI becomes part of your cognitive toolkit the way reading and writing did 5,000 years ago. In this scenario, the question, what happens to the human brain when AI is smarter than us, becomes almost meaningless, because the distinction between human brain and AI starts to dissolve. This possibility raises profound questions. If your thinking is partly done by an AI chip in your skull, are those thoughts still yours? What happens to your sense of self? And who controls the chip? These aren't questions for science alone. They're questions for all of us. What can your brain do that AI still can't? Here are some things what the brain actually do that AI currently doesn't. First, your brain is connected to a living body. Every thought is shaped by real experiences: pain, hunger, fear, and touch. AI has never felt any of them. Second, humans have consciousness, the subjective experience of being alive. Scientists still don't know exactly how it works, and AI hasn't shown it. Third is common sense. Humans naturally understand how the world works, while AI can still fail at simple, unfamiliar situations. And finally, social intelligence, the ability to truly empathize, read emotions, and build relationships. AI can imitate these skills, but it doesn't experience them. As AI grows smarter, the human brain isn't becoming obsolete, It's becoming most valuable for the things only humans can truly do. So, what should you actually do in an AI powered world? Neuroscience gives a surprisingly simple answer: use your brain or risk losing some of its sharpness. Decades of research on neuroplasticity show that the brain grows stronger through challenge, not convenience. The goal isn't to avoid AI, it's to use AI as a thinking partner, not a substitute for thinking. If you're writing, draft first and let AI critique it. If you're solving a problem, wrestle with it before asking for help. If you're navigating somewhere new, try finding your way before opening a map app. Just like muscles grow through resistance, brains grow through mental effort. Neuroscientists also recommend protecting skills that are uniquely human: deep reading, long form writing, face to face conversations, physical navigation, music, craftsmanship, and creative problem solving. These activities aren't just enjoyable, they're workouts for the brain. Research even suggests that people whose jobs involve complex real world navigation, such as taxi and ambulance drivers, may have lower rates of Alzheimer's related mortality, highlighting the importance of keeping the brain's navigation systems active. And perhaps most importantly, stay curious. Curiosity is one of the strongest predictors of long term cognitive resilience. The brain evolved to explore, question, and learn. If AI gives you every answer before you've had a chance to think, it may be giving your brain exactly what it needs least. The future isn't about competing with AI, it's about making sure AI doesn't do so much thinking for us that we forget how to think for ourselves. Let's bring this all together. When AI becomes smarter than all of us combined, and the people building it increasingly believe that day is coming, three things could happen to the human brain. It could atrophy, losing skills it no longer needs, growing dependent in the way a muscle weakens without use. It could adapt, as it has done through every technological revolution in history, offloading the old and deepening the new. Or it could merge, directly interfacing with AI in ways that blur the line between human thought and machine intelligence. The honest answer is we don't know which of these will dominate. It may be all three in different ways for different people. But here's what we do know: the brain is not a fixed object, it is a living, adapting, reshaping system that has survived everything history has thrown at it. And it has one capability that no AI, however powerful, has yet demonstrated: the ability to care, to genuinely want things, to choose what kind of future to build. The brain facing superintelligence is not a brain meeting its replacement. It may be a brain meeting its most powerful tool. And what it builds with that tool, what we build with that tool, is still entirely up to us. If this video made you think, hit like. Subscribe if you want more science that actually matters, and drop in the comments: which of the three scenarios do you think is most likely? Atrophy, adaptation, or merger? I'll see you in the next one.